Okay, so let's start off 2021 and the trade discussions immediately after the draft and before free agent frenzy with the biggest name on the trade market right now. Let's go over Jack Eichel once again. You know him, you love him. We talk about this guy all the time. A very good franchise caliber talent for the Sabres who's been taken out with neck problems. He wants this surgery, which no NHL athlete has ever gotten before, leading teams to believe that there is some potential danger in the surgery. He also is playing for a Sabres team that is pretty bad, and he has noted how he is really disappointed with where the team has gone since he was acquired in 2015. Now, we've had teams in and out of the conversations, and we've been updating this YouTube channel with those teams as the information has been revealed by NHL insiders, but in particular, we've talked about the Rangers, we've spoken about the Kings and the Wild and the Avalanche, and a whole bunch of other teams as well. Lots of conversations going around about Jack Eichel because it's not every day a potential 80, 90-point guy who's just getting better is put onto the trade market at a potentially discounted price because he is unhappy and he is injured. When it comes to these conversations, the Rangers have been the team that a lot of people have been kind of linking to with the Sabres the most. We had some word earlier on in the year that the Rangers might have been in, later word that they might have been taken out, then a lot of insiders talking about, oh, they might circle back with the Rangers or whatever, mostly because when it comes to the Buffalo Sabres asking price, it's pretty big. Yeah, they're asking for a boatload of stuff, and there are limited amounts of teams in the NHL that would actually be able to make a trade and pay up that price, especially in a manner that doesn't completely cripple their future. The Rangers are one of the few teams that have a boatload of young guys on the team, a boatload of prospects that are valuable, and enough assets to justify making a trade because you won't be sacrificing an arm and a leg to do so. But apparently, the results of these conversations have not been all too great. Let's go over in chronological order and talk about a few things with the Rangers and how they might have just rejected what the Buffalo Sabres had been asking of them. This is what Darren Dreger said a few days ago, making an appearance on the Instigator Show podcast on WGR 550 Sports Radio in Buffalo. Dreger noted that a New York Rangers source told to him there's a slim chance on Jack Eichel coming to the New York Rangers, but it could change with a phone call. Ryan Mead of Blue Shirts Breakaway then jokes around, oh, we've done it everyone, we're in mystery team season. So, according to one source with Dreger, the Rangers might not be the team. It's pretty slim at the time of this tweet or this publication of this on the radio, July 23rd, 2021. And then we had the Elliotte Friedman 31 Thoughts podcast come out with another quote too. Let's go over what Friedman said about the New York Rangers and Jack Eichel in his recent podcast episode. The New York Rangers and Sabres were just not close on the package, Friedman notes. The Sabres wanted the likes of Braden Schneider or Nils Lundkvist, and the Rangers did not want to go there. The Sabres wanted some of their top young players that are already on their roster too. And you know what? Just from this little idea right here, my sense is you're going to call up Chris Drury and you're going to say, hey man, look, you guys need a center. The Rangers, you guys don't have that center depth that you really want, and you want my Jack Eichel over here. We're going to ask you for Braden Schneider or Nils Lundkvist or any of the young guys on your roster. The second Chris Drury says, oh no, if we're getting a Jack Eichel trade, we're not touching Braden Schneider or Lundkvist, man. Sorry, we're not doing that. If you're the Sabres in this situation, you walk away. And the reason you walk away is because, look, I'm not going to make it seem like I'm kind of trashing on Braden Schneider and Nils Lundkvist. I think they're great NHL prospects, good defensemen, and they've got bona fide top 4 potential ceilings in the NHL. But if you're in a territory where this is already unrestricted conversation territory with the Rangers, you're just not going to win this trade, man. Like, we've been saying it the past year, right? If you're going to trade Jack Eichel, it's almost impossible to win that trade. But that's not really the point I'm trying to indicate here. When you're making a trade with one of the best young players in the NHL in Jack Eichel, you are doing your absolute best to make sure you get the most amount possible for this guy. And for the Rangers and their standpoint, if they're not willing to talk about Braden Schneider or Nils Lundkvist individually in a Jack Eichel trade, then you already know you're not going to get a package that is going to be near worth the amount of value that a Jack Eichel would be. And I get that Eichel is in a territory where the price should be reduced because he's got neck surgery, he's unhappy, he wants to do this thing, he's taken out with injuries. We get it. He's not as good as he could be health-wise and mentally-wise. But we all still know how talented he is in general. So, if you're going to go out there and make a trade for Jack Eichel, I would be really surprised if the Sabres were able to get anything less than a team's top prospect or a very good, skilled young player on a team and whatever prospects the Sabres would ask for. And you know why I believe that now? Because Kevyn Adams has been really active the past few days. We saw the Ristolainen trade to the Philadelphia Flyers that, in my opinion, was an absolute robbery right there. Rasmus Ristolainen, of all people, getting the haul that he ended up acquiring a first-round pick, Robert Hagen, a second for Ristolainen. Dude, that's creating value out of an asset that a lot of people would have said to being worth a lot less value. Then you saw Sam Reinhart get traded for a first-round pick as well, and Devin Levi. And that was a trade where it's like you're trading the negotiation rights to a player, and you're acquiring a first-round pick. What in the world? How is this possible? Kevyn Adams is going out there capitalizing on everybody on the roster, and it makes me more skeptical, I guess I would say, that the Sabres would go out there and just make a trade with Eichel that would be so flat-out bad in their direction. I think they're being super careful with this Eichel stuff, and you kind of have to be. Because if the Rangers are going out there saying, okay, no, we're not touching Braden Schneider, we're not touching Nils Lundkvist, then what does that say for the rest of the negotiations you're going to be having with this hockey team? If they're not going to be willing to part with those assets, then what are they going to be willing to part with? Nils Lundkvist was a fantastic SHL defender this year, a whole bunch of points, really skilled, really good Swedish guy on the blue line. Braden Schneider was a first-round pick taken in last year's draft. He has been fantastic as well. A huge step up in 2020-2021 in the WHL for him than he had the year before. He's got a big, solid frame. He can rush the puck up as well. But the thing with these players, Lundkvist and Schneider, these guys don't project to being like a Dahlin or a Makar or a Hughes or a Heiskanen. They're not in that territory. They're just like top 4, maybe top-line guys on bad teams, in my opinion. Like, sure, if I'm wrong about this assessment, I'll eat my words, but if you tell me in 5 years that a Nils Lundkvist or a Braden Schneider is in the conversation for best defenseman on the Rangers, I'm gonna be like, okay, what? Adam Fox is on that team, and that guy has an astronomically higher ceiling, in my opinion, than Lundkvist and Schneider do. That's kind of the territory they're in my opinion. Now again, you're free to disagree. Oh, Lundkvist, Schneider, they're going to become like Norris caliber defensemen by the time they hit their primes. I don't see it, but okay. If you think they're going to get there, then okay, you think they're going to get there. And maybe if they were in that territory, I would say, yeah, if you want to get this Eichel thing done, I'm not going to touch Braden Schneider or Nils Lundkvist. That makes a lot more sense in my opinion. But because of their unwillingness to touch this territory of their prospect pool, it says to me that they're really not going to be willing to give up anything of significant, top-class, high-caliber talent in an Eichel trade. Sure, maybe a Kako or a Lafreniere goes in a hypothetical trade offer, but I'm not sure about the other stuff, man. And the Sabres, they've been super careful with making these trades the past few days that I don't really see them backing down, you know? Kevyn Adams also said that he would be completely fine if they did not trade Eichel and they just kept him on the team. We're hearing all the news about Minnesota and New York dropping out of these conversations like flies because the price is too high. Kevyn Adams is saying, hey, if he's still on the team, fine. That's okay, because you know what? We're getting Jack Eichel on our roster. He's good. We're not going to trade him unless we actually get a package that we like, and if the bare minimum, the prospects that we're asking for is untouchable territory for you, New York, then we can just take our talk somewhere else. We're not going to get this done, and there isn't a future of Eichel in Manhattan. So, talk to me in the comments what you think about this entire video idea over here. The Rangers not wanting to go for Lundkvist or Schneider in these Jack Eichel trade conversations, and sources from Darren Dreger saying, yeah, apparently it's not going to happen. Slim chance it happens now, Eichel to the Rangers. Let me know in the comments what you think this means for the entire Eichel conversation, whether or not it will be a team like New York or some other squad out there that ends up acquiring the services of one of the best young American centers in the entire National Hockey League. I hope you enjoyed this video. Trolls 99, and bye.